I'm going to introduce you to the online cover making tool that I had developed and I put up at DIYbookcovers.com. There are other online tools. The reason I wanted to make one is because there isn't really anything powerful enough to get those really beautiful book covers where there's a lot of colors and a lot of contrast. They really pop out at you. The way to do that is with layers and blending, and there aren't any online graphics editors that have the power to do the things that I usually do in Photoshop to get the high quality covers that I make. And so what I want to do is make templates that you could open and edit in an online program without downloading anything, without downloading software or installing anything, installing fonts. And so it took a while, and it's not, I mean, I made it on a low budget. I designed it myself. So even though it's pretty powerful, it's not foolproof, and there's still, it may be a little buggy, but it gives you another option to develop covers that you're not going to find anywhere else, and it's free to use for everybody. So I think once you get used to it, you may appreciate the capabilities that it has. When we start, we're just going to open it up, and we go over here to custom size. And right now it's set at 5 by 8. I usually set it at 6 by 9 to make book covers, and then I'll zoom in or out until I can see. So a 6 by 9 cover is about this size. It's this shape. I think that's a good size for iPads and Kindles. Amazon recommends a 5 by 8 ratio, which is a little bit more narrow. It looks good on iPhones, maybe iPhone 5, but I prefer this shape. It's almost the same, it's just a little bit wider. I think it's more like a normal book shape, and I prefer it. Um, but you can choose whichever one you like. If you're gonna print your book 5 by 8 and you know that, you may want to just go with 5 by 8, because what's going to happen is if you design by 6 by 9 and then you print a 5 by 8 cover, you're going to have to trim a bunch of the design off the sides. But you also have a lot of other options with custom size. So you've got uh, Pinterest, you've got Facebook. This is the Facebook header, so it's 851 by 315. So instead of trying to figure out how to design a Facebook header, you can just go to custom size and pick Facebook, and it'll be ready to go. You can design it here and then save it as a JPEG and upload it to Facebook. You have one for Twitter that's 1500 by 500. There's also a Facebook ad, even though it's 1200. I think Facebook is like 120, so this is 10 times as big as you need. Um, but it's a really good size for the news feed in Facebook, and you can also use it for the ad because they'll shrink it down to be the right size, and the ratio is good. These are designed. Um, this is big enough that the pixels are 300 dpi. So if you make a business card and save it as a JPEG or PNG, you can print it as a business card and it'll be high quality. Same with the covers. This is a 6 by 9 cover, which is actually 300 dpi, and it's how much? 1800 by 2700, and that's enough to print a 6 by 9 cover at 300 dpi. So you could make this for a real print book, but you'll also need it for a Kindle book. The Kindles have gotten the resolution is so good that they have a 300 dpi, or the new ones even have like a 600 dpi, which is kind of crazy. So they're asking for bigger and bigger pixel sizes, even bigger than you would need for a print cover. And then custom sizes here, you've also got some more choices for ad boxes. These are the normal advertising box sizes for Google AdWords and most online advertisers. The ad box large rectangle is probably what you're going to need for just about every site. It's a good size for the sidebar, but you could also make a skyscraper or a leaderboard. Um, you want to learn a lot about advertising before you try to actually do it. But if you get a good ad box on the right site and it's the right kind of site where your readers hang out, it can be pretty powerful for book marketing. You've also got postcards and bookmarks. I like to make 5 by 7 bookmarks because it's kind of the same size as a cover, even though I would usually turn it the other way, so I would design my cover sideways. But you could make a book cover and then just rotate everything sideways to put it here and save it and print it out as a postcard. You can just put your front and the back cover on here and print it out, and it's kind of like giving away the book, but it's got all the information you need. It's better than a business card or a postmark bookmark because you can put more on it. So this is zoom in, zoom out, custom size, and then when you're done, you can save it as a PNG or a JPEG or a project file. And the project file, it's a .fie file. It's not going to work anywhere else. It's only going to work in this Flash program. So you'll see that I've got a folder of some um, free templates, and later I'll put some templates and I'll build them right in here so you can just get started quickly by clicking on the templates and seeing what's available. I have like 20 of them that'll get you up to speed and get you started. And my templates are starting platforms. They're not meant to be used as is, but you can customize them quickly, change the text, change the background picture, and you'll be ready to go. This tool, because it's because I made it, I'm not really a developer. I got it made, it works pretty well, but it's not perfect. So if it has any problems, if it gets stuck, if it seems kind of buggy, what you want to do is save your project file and then reload the page. And then once the page comes back, you'll go up to File and Open, and you can open that file you just saved, and it should be working fine again. Sometimes if you're using it too long, or if your internet is not connected very well, or there's some problem, you may find that it's not working so well, or you're getting stuck or frustrated with it. So when that happens, you can just refresh the page, save it first, and then refresh and start over. Open that file, and you'll be in the same place where you were. And that should work most of the time. So I'm going to show you just how to open some pictures, and I'll make several videos to walk you through the thing about this tool that you're not going to find anywhere else. The special features are mostly down here in the layers panel, because you'll be able to blend layers together in a lot of really cool ways to make some really powerful book cover design effects. But first, you're just going to need some pictures. So I'm going to import a picture, and I have a folder with a bunch of stock photography. And I'll start with just something like this. I like post-apocalyptic book covers and that genre. So I've got my book size, and you can change this anytime. And the picture is going to kind of you're going to have to resize the picture to go with the new size. But with the 6:9, I'm going to have to resize a little bit. If you grab it here in the middle, it's going to stretch. And you probably don't want to do that. The same thing if you go this way. But if you grab it from the diagonal corner, then it's going to go down. And you're going to have to cut some of this image off. That's always a problem with a picture, because most pictures come horizontal like this. So you're going to have to decide which part of the picture you want on the cover. The other way to do it, if you really want to use all of the picture, you could put it up here and you could add something else down here, like just a black gradient or a black texture. You could go white, but with this cover I'd probably go dark. It's also good, you've got to figure out where the text is going to go. So in this picture, probably I'd put the text in the sky. You want it kind of where there's not a lot of contrast. If I put the text over here where there's a lot of really dark and really light, it's going to be hard to make the text stand out. But if I put the text like here in this patch that's mostly white, that's going to be much easier. But I could also just fill this in with black or dark texture, and then the text will stand out really clearly. And that might be what I want to do also. But for now, I would just make it big. When you have a picture, sometimes it's kind of hard to select the layer you want, but you can go up here to this arrow tool and grab it again. There's some special features. You can change the colors really easily. You can change the saturation, the brightness, the contrast. You usually don't want to do it too much. It depends on the genre. Some genres you really want powerful contrast, but you're usually going to get the effects you want by blending layers and not so much by using these. So you might want to, a tiny bit of contrast. You don't want it to be too sharp or bright. You want it to kind of look natural. And you're either going to want contrasting colors. So when you have a picture that has a lot of different colors, you kind of want to make it more of a solid monochrome. And you're either going to have something where it's really simple and minimal, but then you have one splash of color. Usually a gray, black and white goes well with like a red text or a splash of red. Or you're just going to pick like a full monochrome. a theme. You can have 2 or 3 main colors on the cover, but you don't want just a regular natural picture. Let me find another example. I've got a bunch of pictures in here, so I'm just looking for one I can use. This one could be fun. This would be more for a fantasy. And later I'm going to show you how to drop in a character in that space, which is what you're usually going to want to do for almost all fiction covers. You could do just a simple cover with one picture like this and it would be okay, but probably you want one picture for the setting in the background and another picture for a character. You don't have to put on the face, but usually even just a little somebody standing here would help a lot. Now that we have a couple pictures, we can go down to the layers, and now I've got my 2 images here. And so I can click this eye effect to deselect and hide an image. Once I get a lot of layers like text and on different blending layers, you're going to have to rearrange, and you can click on these to go up and down. But you're going to want to rearrange the pictures so that you can grab them. If this one is on top, sometimes it's hard for me to grab this one that's behind it. So for example, if I was blending this one, but I wanted to move the one behind it, I couldn't get to it. So I'd have to either move it out of the way to grab this one, or I just move it down for a minute so I can move this one around. And then I'd go back to my layers and I'd move it back up. Select this one and move it back up. We'll play around more with layers later. I'm going to stop this video here. This is just adding pictures and saving and changing the size and zooming in and out, because that's going to be important when you start. And in the next video I'll keep going and I'll show you how to add some characters and to apply some effects to make these really awesome covers.